Alan Oldfield, who, incidentally, if you never saw this guy in action yesterday, he is the current world blade shearing champion. And his father, Phil, in front of him. Phil has represented New Zealand on numerous occasions as well as a blade shearer. So Alan down there just trying to chat up the opposition. Trying to put her off her stride, John.
Team member.
Yeah, team member, I mean. That's what I meant. So the two Oldfields in the middle, the two girls either side.
So,
Katie.
woohoo, here we are with the champion of the Powerco Senior Shearing Championships, Golden Shears 2020. That's you, Brendan.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked, Mavis. It's a great feeling. Thought I was a bit rough out the back, but yeah, obviously done the job right, so yeah.
That's you're putting everything into your one sentence. That's fabulous. Gee, so tell me, how did it feel up there? Because actually watching, it looked so even.
Yeah, it was quite a bit nerve-wracking. It was a bit of a good race going on. I thought I was actually quite a bit behind, but yeah, I was right on the pace, so it was quite good.
Yeah, but you've had a great season, haven't you? You've won, and I had the list in front of me before, but you've won about 4 shows this season, or you've cleaned up the South Island, I think.
Yeah, won a few down south. Didn't have the best season, but yeah, this makes up for it.
That does make up for it. So, did you know many of your, your other finalists? Have you worked with many of them before that you're sure with?
I've never worked with any of them. I met Ross at the, went out for a look at the elite shearing training out at the old pre-shears shed, so that was quite good.
Yeah.
I just know most of them from the shows, really.
Yeah. Oh, well done. Well, Ross did well, didn't he? Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it didn't quite work out for him in the final, but fortunately for you, but not unfortunately for him.
No, it was quite good though.
So, what's next for you, Brendan? Where to from here? I mean, senior champion of Golden Shears at its 60th birthday. That's pretty special, you know.
Yeah, it's quite cool. I'm pretty wrapped still. No, I'm not too sure yet. Probably just go back to work, and I'll probably have to move up to Open with the big boys now. So probably just have to go back and train a bit more at work, and yeah.
Well, it was interesting. I had Digger Balm co-commentating with me on here, and there was a lot of really cool tips that he was kind of giving out at the same time, and he was saying things like, the open shearers they're always prepared to help. They're always, they're prepared to share their knowledge. He said it's just about being brave enough to approach them, because he said in his day he was always too shy.
Yeah, well, that's it. I usually just go up to Nathan Stratford, but with going to that elite shearing training, him and Aaron Haynes have gave me a bit of tips and with gear and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was quite good.
Yep. So you've got a whole sector out there just ready and willing to help you to do whatever you need. All you have to do is ask. So don't forget that, eh?
Yeah. No, that's it.
Hey, Brendan, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to mention on here?
Just all my family down south. My partner, Lashara Anderson, she made the senior final, so hopefully...
bit of a power couple, eh?
See how she goes. Yeah, just, I don't know. But lost for words, really.
Oh, well, thank you for coming and sharing a bit of time. I know it's pretty tough when you've just had a big final like that. So, but all the best for you, and yes, for Lashara. How fantastic. You two, you're at the start of your dreams, and just go out there and make it all happen.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much,
All the best.
And, of course, that'll help keep them alive in the real tough conditions. That's right, John. And I got to say, it's absolutely fantastic to have you here, John McBride, with your first-hand knowledge of the history of New Zealand shearing. You've just run us through back in the early 1900s when you were a young man, and you were telling us about your experiences with getting the sheep in on horseback and shearing on blades and stone pens and all that sort of thing. Fantastic to have you here, John, and to be able to share all that knowledge with us of you and your young man back in the early part of the century. So up on the stage.
You got me.
Up on the stage, Katie Reid chopping around across the side of the rib cage on her first sheep. Nikki Gutler just working her way down towards what we call a long blow. So they sit the sheep up quite high, as Nikki's doing down there, and just work their way around the side of the rib cage before they lay it down. And there's only a real short long blow on the blade sheep, so she's into the long blow now, working way up the backbone. So they just shear most of the side off sitting up and then lay it down for a couple of blows, and then they'll bring her around onto the last side. So Katie Reid finishing touches, and she's going to let this one go very shortly. Yeah, so completely different style, John, you're dead right. A lot of it is aimed at sort of minimising the surface area that they've got to cover with the blade, so they crunch the sheep up rather than stretch it out, so there's less surface area to cover. And of course, crunching it up, squashing it all together, they'll leave a bit more wool on as well. So Katie Reid out with sheep number 2. But the Oldfield boys, so Phil on stand number 3 there, that's the dad. He's said to himself, I'm going to show you a thing or two about shearing, young fella. You think you're pretty clever winning the world championships and everything, but I taught you to shear, and I'm just going to let you know that I'm still here. So he's around into the side of the ribcage right there with Alan, shearing blow for blow, these two. Or is Alan just backing off just to make his old man feel good? I don't know.
He's got a bit of a tougher sheep, I can see that. He's having to work a little bit harder. He's making a narrower cut into the wool. You know, instead of taking 30 centimetres at a time, he's only taking 20 centimetres. Millimetres, sorry. The blade is 20 centimetres long. As he comes over, they both come over the last side together. Here we have Katie Karif coming up the neck. A little bit of finishing touches still going on from our Australian lass, Nikki Gutler down there. Wee shots coming across the shoulder now for Phil and Alan. Pretty much blow for blow. I don't think they're waiting for these ladies at all. They just need to get on with the job. They know that it's a team event and times will count. I think Nikki Gutler, she saw that well yesterday. Did she not have a raspberry and glucose this morning? She's a little bit behind the 8 ball, but she's trying to darn us now. Maybe sheep number 2 might be a little bit kinder to her and be a little bit more open in the wool. She works across that last leg. You can see the pattern. There's only 2 or 3 strokes up that backbone that are parallel with the sheep. All the rest are vertical. And there we go. Out the last leg for her. Out the last leg for Phil and Alan. On the middle there. Not a very nice shot, you can see, for these blade shearers, but they're ready just to flip the sheep forward, flip it away from their blades when it goes down the porthole. See how he withdraws his blade, hits the time button, safety first, doesn't want to have the sheep flicking about and kicking him while he's still holding on to his blades. And likewise, Phil will do the same. And what time was that? 7 minutes odd for Alan to get the fluff off, and Phil's completed the task as well. In goes Nikki Gutler for this one. The bellies are off it, so she's going to start on the first off leg. A little bit of time to make up, but Katie Reid, she's already in the long blow on this one. And I'm sure Katie won't be waiting for it. It's a long time bent over, ladies and gentlemen. Just 2 sheep and already 7 minutes of elapsed plus. So it's going to hurt by the time they get through the job.
Sam Saunders, please, can you come up to the announcer's desk, Sam Saunders? So just the 2 girls left on the stage, and I've got to say it's a lot more pleasant than seeing the boys shearing, that's for sure. So way into the last cheek for Katie Reid. Just the last side to come off for her, the Scottish lass on stand number 2. And Nikki Gutler from Australia down there working away into the first hind leg. A bit of a slower sheep, that first one she had. So as you can imagine with the blades, if they're a bit tricky, it can take you a hell of a lot longer than it normally would. Takes long enough anyway with the blades. So the blade shearers They get paid accordingly. They get a little bit more than the machine shearers per sheep because it's slower. They do less just to make up for the speed. Katie Reid working away around onto the last front shoulder. Like I said, folks, still a lot of sheep shorn in New Zealand on the blades. And Ellen Oldfield up there, one of the younger blade shearers around. Sort of, she was a big industry a few years ago. The cover comb dealt to a little bit of it. Stole quite a few shears off the blade boys over the years, but and blade shearers numbers dwindled a little bit. So it's a bit harder for the farmers to get a good blade crew in when they wanted them because there was less of them around. So that drove some of them to the cover comb as well. The cover comb, of course, is what we call the winter comb, with less teeth than a normal shearing comb and a rider on the back, which leaves a bit more wool on, but not as much as the blades. So just a wee bit of extra insurance for winter shearing. Katie Reid right out onto the last leg. Another couple of blows and she'll be reaching for the time clock button behind her, and she'll be able to let that one go out to the judges.
No secrets in a blade shed, is there? Eh? Because there's no machine noise. You cannot whisper in the ear and get away with it.
That's dead right. No secrets in the shed, but you know what they say, what happens in the blade gangs stays there. So there's probably some secrets that we haven't heard about. Katie Reid over the tail. Give her a hand, folks. All the way from Crieff in Scotland. Well done, Katie. And she's a pretty handy machine shearer as well, that girl.
I've seen her go, mate. She knows how to throw it around, and that's for sure. There's steel on. A little bit of a worry now, of course, there's no more cricket on the radio, so it's going to be a hell of a time in the shearing sheds. How many people listen to cricket at a shearing shed, Norman?
Not me.
Oh, you need the beat going to keep the rhythm.
Do AC/DC play cricket? I don't know.
They probably knock a few things out, mainly light bulbs and what have you. As we go on up the long blow there for Nikki Gutler, the time clock's still on her. The pain will be starting to set in now. And she drives that blade right up that big 200mm blade. There's a leather strapping on that spring end of the blades there. And that's what they call a driver. It helps them hold on and force the blade forward through the matted wool. You try and cut wool with a knife, you don't have much success. You need to have another blade on the other side, so you cut it together. About 30 mils at a time, she'll be laying those blades into that wool, so that is a lot. Where a machine shearer gets off over 100 mils a time, 30 mils, it counts for a lot of squeezes of those hands. Power on the wrist, skill of keeping the sheep nice and quiet. And you'll notice these sheep have been very docile. They are not drugged in any way. As they come across the shoulder now, working away. She won't let the men get in and help her out. She says, I've got this mastered. It's easier than shearing some of those big, kicky, wrinkly merinos in Australia. As we come across the last shoulder, still quite a number of shots to go in because she's going to go round from the backbone down towards the middle of the stomach, shearing the rib cage. So it's probably that sheep that's probably, what is there, maybe 15 to 20 shots across that rib cage before she gets down into the last leg. So there's a bit of time to go yet, and she's working hard at it. The back's starting to scream a little bit. 12 minutes, 13 minutes, she's been bent over. The judge can maybe see 1 or 2 second cuts floating up. They're watching very diligently. Of course, most of these shearing judges up here are machine shearing judges, but a second cut is a second cut. It doesn't matter which side you see it on. Out the last leg. Not too many blows left now, though, ladies and gentlemen, because she would have done a big undermine. And that's going up over the working end of the sheep. opposite to the mouth. Out the last leg she swings. Woolhandler's getting ready to pull the fleece. Be carted away and rolled and teased and what have you down in the back room. So you get about start to warm your hands up, ladies and gentlemen, from Nikki Gutler from Australia. Come on, give her the clap and get her home. Get into it. She's doing well. Come on, Nikki. She's starting to lift that wool over the tail now, and that means she's almost at the end of that sheep. One more shot down the hole. Woohoo! Sheep fleece still intact.
Well done, boys and girls. So absolutely fantastic to have some blade shearers here, just for something a bit different at the 60th anniversary of the Golden Shears. The blade shearers, of course, they're a relevant part of the shearing community in the central part of the South Island. But well done.
Could we have Wayne Johnson and Nigel Shorter, please? Wayne Johnson and Nigel Shorter here to our microphone area. One there. Ready for the presentations. Just before we get into the presentations, could we have Brent Roberts, Dion King and Troy Piper to the T-shirt, the singlet area, please, down here at the left of the microphone. Thank you.
Wayne Johnson, also please, down to the announcer's desk. Wayne Johnson.
country like this, things have to be made tough. So at MSD Animal Health, we make vaccines specifically for New Zealand conditions. ensuring they're tough enough to work out here. That's why thousands of Kiwi farmers trust our vaccines to protect stock, increase productivity and boost farm income. Maltine B12 is our leading 5-in-1 Clostridial vaccine, boosted with vitamin B12 for convenience. Made here, works here. Maltine B12.
Troy Piper and Dion King. Troy and Dion, can you please come and check in for the open semis and receive your singlets?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to present the prizes for the Johnson Brothers Blade Challenge. We were looking for Wayne Johnson. If there's anybody else here from Johnson Brothers that wish to speak as this presentation, you are most welcome to come up to the board. After this presentation, we also have 3 others for events that finished previously.
Yeah, that's right, John. It's great to see such a good crowd come in today. I hope everybody's been enjoying their their visit to the Golden Shears, and I know we're World Wide Web, and people from all around the world are watching it. And this camera in front of us here, you get a 360 degrees filming, if anyone doesn't know, right around the stadium. And anyone around the world can do that. I think the technology and spreading the word of shearing and wool handling, I think it's it's getting to great great stages, and I think it's only going to get better.
If you want to keep going, yeah, you can do. Go for it. Yep. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to add to the tension, and we apologise to the shearers on the board, but we just want to confirm that we get this right. So they are just checking up the back. So we thought we'd take the opportunity to talk about tonight. Many of you will be coming along tonight, and normally once we finish the open final and we announce the winners, that's the end of the night. But today is the 60th anniversary, of course, for the Golden Shears, so things are a wee bit different. There is a bar licence till 1 in the morning, and we are encouraging as many of you to stay and enjoy the festivities. You know, the Golden Shears were going for about 10 years and they thought that it would die a natural death. And here we are, 60 years later, still going strong. So it's something worth celebrating. So the band will be going live here, and we're going to clear the seats as soon as we finish, and we encourage all of you that are coming along to stay, mix and mingle, and enjoy yourselves. Yes, after, well, if you leave, you can't come back, so make the most of it. That's the other thing. We'd also like to take the opportunity while we can to acknowledge those volunteers, the resident shearers and wool handlers that have worked hard over the last 4 days to make sure that this competition can go ahead. They all take days off work, they lose income just to make sure that the Golden Shears are going. So thank you for helping us acknowledge them. Perfect timing. Thank you for your patience, but it's really important we get these things correct. The Johnson Brothers Blade Challenge. First place. The first place team gets $400. Put your hands together to Katie and Phil. Congratulations. I know, but she walked away, so you're stuck with me now. I'm sorry. I don't know how you've still got such a strong grip. You've been doing blade shearing. My God, you can't see this, but his hand is buggered. Look at that. There's more blisters on there than I've seen on anyone's. But here you are. You're coming. I know how much it means to be able to do your trade at the Golden Shears itself. So here we are. Once again, you're on the podium as part of the winning team. Congratulations.
Thanks very much, and thanks very much to the Golden Shears for inviting us up here on this occasion. I remember back in the 50th I was here, I won an event there, blade shearing. I was so overcome by the occasion I was unable to make a speech, so I'd like to thank them sincerely for inviting us up. It's a real honour to be here. This is the event in the world I feel for shearing, and it is a real honour to be here. Thank you to the sponsors and to all the volunteers that helped. Thank you very much, and my team member.
Phil. And second place, $300. Put your hands together, Nikki and Alan. Could we please have the competitors in the Te Puni Kōkiri Senior Woolhandling? Presenting the awards for the Te Puni Kōkiri Senior Woolhandling is Tito Maira Tito, Senior Advisor at Te Puni Kōkiri.
Kia ora koutou, kia ora Wairarapa. It gives me great pleasure to present these awards to these awesome mana wahine. On behalf of TPK, I'd also like to thank White Spurs for the sheep as well, the many volunteers, to the many whānau who come to support, and for those who organised this event. 60 years. Wow. And Māori have dominated. I'm just going to say it and put it out there. Kia ora.
First place in the Te Puni Kōkiri Senior Woolhandling receives $600. Amber Poihepe. Congratulations. You seem quite surprised at this.
Oh, not too surprised now. No, you're pretty surprised, pretty grateful, eh?
Well, look, you heard the cheer in the crowd. Obviously, you've got a lot of support here. Coming to the Golden Shears, you've taken out the senior final now. You can now compete for that open grade next year.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I'll do another season in the seniors, I think.
Congratulations. Anything else you want to say to your mates?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to all my mates who have supported me through the shows since I started. Pagan Karodia for being my mentor, DMS Shearing, big shout out to ShearTech down south, and yeah, just the sponsors, the competitors, and everybody who makes the show happen. Thank you.
Second place and $300, Jasmine Tepuke. Third place and $150, Murawai Paul. And put your hands together all the way from Invercargill, Lashara Anderson. Could we now please have the competitors in Te Papa Partnership North Island Wool Circuit Woolhandling and Nigel Shorter up to the board. Presenting the award on behalf of Te Papa Partnership North Island Wool Circuit Woolhandling is Nigel Shorter, a partner.
Thanks, Kieran. Hello, everyone. We're a new sponsor of this event, and we're really proud to be part of the Golden Shears on their 60th anniversary. And we just want to say congratulations to all the finalists, and a big shout out to all those volunteers that make this event happen. Thank you.
The winner of Te Papa Partnership North Island Wool Circuit Woolhandling receives $800 plus a spot in the Trans-Tasman Woolhandling team. First place penalty points 114. Second place 124. First place, Karen Herbert. Congratulations, Karen. I've lost count the number of times I've spoken to you on this stage. Your long reign here at the Golden Shears continues. Well done.
Thank you. Been a while since I've been able to take the circuit out. The circuit final is actually one of the harder competitions you can do in the country, apart from the open wool handling final here as well. I'd like to thank everyone involved with the circuit, the organisation, Golden Shears for holding the event, our sponsor for the event, and also like to thank everyone who supported me over the years, and my three biggest fans from home down in the back seats there. And all the best to everyone who features in the finals tonight. Thanks.
Second place and $400, Cherie Alabaster. Third place, $300, Niall Hansen. And fourth place, $200, Emarina Bladdock. Could I now please ask the President of the Golden Shears, Sam Saunders, and Edwin to come up on stage.
We like to reward our loyal workers around the Shears, and we have a system of 10 years, 25 and 50 years, as you probably all gathered. And I brought Edwin up here. He's going to present the badges to these volunteers. Edwin's been around here for the whole time, and he knows what the story is with the Shears right from the very start, because his father was involved and Edward was involved very early on. So are they the 10 years?
These are the 3 10 years.
So I'd like to invite Dorothy Munn, Angela Cahoon and Grace Riddell, please.
Okay, we're now going to present the 25-year badges, and I've been around since the first Golden Shears, and I think it's very important that we appreciate the amount of work that people do to make this happen. And if you actually add them up, there's well over 200 people that give up their time to serve on the Golden Shears and make it work. So I've got Bill H, Bruce Casely, Bill Hutchinson, okay, John Hooker, Trish Stevens, Stephen Simonic, Greg Herrick. Yep, there's been a few changes here while they get it sorted out. John Jolly. Sam Saunders, how about that? Tracy Stringer, Missy Riddell, Lynn Paku, Kevin Applin, Reba Walker, Bo Paku, Mavis Mullins, and Phil Morrison, and Brian Anderson. What a cue.
There'll be none of that, thank you.
Yeah. Come on.
I'm not going to give you a cuddle. Or you. I'll give Ray.
Good on you. Oh, lovely to see you up here.
Oh, sorry.
You go down. I'll just announce it. Right, thank you very much for your patience in that. It does take a wee while when you've got so many people, but like I said earlier, we rely on our volunteers and it's important for the Golden Shears to acknowledge them. We have one more award to present as part of this presentation. That is the Alastair Simpson Trophy, recognising a particular effort from a Golden Shears member to this event. And the President, Sam Saunders, will be presenting this.
Well, Alistair was a judge and had a lot to do with the shows around the country. And after his passing, his family presented us with this prize to present to people that have helped in shearing competitions all around the country. And it's quite an honoured thing to have. And this year, I would actually like Mavis to come up and accept it on behalf of her and Coro. We all know what Mavis and Cora have done around these shows, not just New Zealand, overseas as well. We have a book that's been put together, a picture book of Cora Mullins, and that goes with it as well, Mavis. You don't have to.
Look, can I just say thank you very much for this. By geez, you guys do some black magic around the back, don't you? On behalf of our family, you know, this is where we want to be, whether Koro's here or not. This is where his heart always was, and it's where our hearts will always be. So thank you very much, Golden Shears. Thank you.
Well done, Mavis. And we have a special final presentation. It is a certificate of appreciation for 54 years service to the Golden Shears, and this goes to the Masterton District Brass Band.
The band's been coming here for 54 years, and I think that's worth as much recognition as our 25-year badges. And thank you, team, for doing it. A lot of people at the Shears here don't see you because you're here on the Friday night, you're putting it up, work till late at night, and then gone again on Sunday. And we couldn't run without the help of the likes of you and others that help us put all the show together. So thank you very much.
Unaccustomed as I am, I'm not used to this stuff. The big thanks goes to like the people were saying, is all the volunteers that helped put this together. I mean, we've done it for that many years, and I've done it about this high. But it's you guys that make it, and it's the community of Masterton that host it, and so I'm really just proud to be part of that team. Thank you very much.
There wouldn't be many international sporting events that are considered the highest accolade in the sport that are entirely dependent on the support of volunteers. So thank you all very much. It's now time to get back to the action. So I'll hand you back down now to our commentators to lead on to the next event. Thank you for your attention.
Sometimes things can get forgotten and just taken for granted,
Well, kia ora everybody, we're back at the 60th anniversary Golden Shears, and we've got with us the senior wool handling finalist, Amber Poihipi from All High down in Southland there. I said junior because actually Amber started off the season, first event of the season was in junior, and then she more or less self-promoted up to senior class. So Amber, tell us a bit about why you did that first of all.
We're doing pretty well. I had a really good season in the juniors when I first went up. I managed to make all the finals, won one of them, and by the time we got a placing at the Alexandra show, we just thought, oh, well, it's our time to move up, I think. So, yeah. And our mentor encouraged us to move up too. She said we'd probably do a bit better in the seniors.
Yeah. Okay, and it sort of recognises a bit of a ultimate goal of obviously competing in the Open, but you reckon you're ready for that yet? Or?
Not yet. Maybe another season in the seniors, and then I'll be ready to go up to the Opens.
Yeah.
It's a bit daunting.
Yeah. Have you got someone in the Open that you really aspire to be?
Yeah, Pagan Karodia and Joel Hinare. They're two really of my biggest idols, probably in the Opens.
Yeah, exactly. You couldn't get better than that. Now, tell us a bit about where you've been working.
I work down south for Shear Tech, Ray Tafada and Matt Watson. Been working there since November last year, and yeah, had a real awesome solid main shear down there. It's been great.
Yeah. Okay, tell us about this one. You've just recently had your first win in senior. Take it from there, and you're actually coming here to win this.
Down at Gore?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't really make it anywhere at Winton and Lumsden. I came fifth at both those shows, and so I jumped in the Gore show and managed to win that show. I was really happy with that. boosted my confidence a lot, and it helped me a lot for the Golden Shears to be prepared for that too. So, yeah.
And going into this, were you confident going up before the presentation?
I was pretty confident. I was confident through my semis as well. I'm not usually like that. I'm usually just have no confidence at all. But I went up there just focused and I felt really, really confident through my finals. And I didn't know if I was going to win or not, but yeah, I felt pretty confident.
Yeah. And what's left now? Are you going to go to Te Kuiti or is it a bit far from home?
Yep. Booked our flights yesterday. Actually, we're off to Te Kuiti in 3 weeks. So yeah, that'll be awesome. I haven't done that show before. I haven't done a second shear show before, so it'll be interesting to see how I go.
Oh, well, and got any plans to go overseas, or have you worked already overseas?
Yeah, I lived over in Aussie for about 6 years. I've worked over there. I've worked over in America, classing wool. But yeah, no, probably just go back and do a quick stint in Aussie, and that's about it, just to fill some time in.
Yeah. Okay, well, congratulations, well done, and we'll certainly see you up here again sometime in the future. I think we're about ready to cut, I think, soon to the Open Woolhandling semi-finals, I believe, so...
Yep, no, thank you. Thank you heaps.
Brilliant, mate.
We have the green light. Can we please have our wool handlers to the stands? And judges. Nannies first. Nannies first. You don't have to fight over who goes up. Shear Expertise are the sponsor of this event. Thank you very much to Shear Expertise. That's Paddy Mason and his crew. Paddy Mason and his crew also do the shearing, and he handpicks his shearers. We only want the best. Can we have our shearers to the board? We have the green light. I'd like to welcome my co-commentator, Rowena Duncan. Welcome to the Open Woolhandling semi-finals.
Thanks, Tim. Absolute pleasure to be here. Looking forward to this. We've seen our competitors handle 4 fleeces, 4 long wool fleeces in the heats, in the quarterfinals. They're now up to 5 long wool fleeces, and this the semi-final in the Shear Expertise Open Wool Handling. All of the sheep kindly supplied by White Spurs, local farmers here, and as we've mentioned so often throughout this weekend, it's been extremely challenging conditions for the farmers recently, what with the ongoing drought. So full credit to White Spurs for producing us a very even line of long wool sheep here.
Oh, well, here we're back. We're back to winding down. We're getting to the, as Digger has said earlier, we're getting to the real business end of things, and that's no different than the next event that we have in front of us, the Shear Expertise Wool Handling semi-final. And I'm really pleased and privileged to have a co-conspirator with me at the moment, Philip Morrison. Philip, you've been in everything in wool handling. You're a competitor, a judge, an examiner. You tell the people.
Wasn't as competitive as you, Mavis, but it was mainly through young farmers that my association with the wool handling took place, and we were a pretty good team together, weren't we?
We were a massive team. You know, East Coast ruled in young farmers back in our day.
Well, the big thing was to beat the Wairarapa teams. That's
yeah, that's right. That's right. So, Philip, we've got the Open. So we are really getting into it. The Shear Expertise Open Wool Handling Semi-Final, Shear Expertise, Paddy Mason. What an amazing job he does, you know, for the Shears with his voluntary work, but now also as a major sponsor.
Yes, he is a major sponsor, and you know, behind the scenes, of course, we see the resident shearers. They come organised through Paddy and who work for him. He used to crutch some of the sheep for the shearing at some stage, but with his input, with his resident shearers, he has given that away, and fair enough.
Yeah, for sure. So they're going to be, these competitors, 2 heats, they're going to be handling 5 long wool fleeces, and these fleeces have been supplied by White Spurs property. Amazing condition. You can see through the last few days these beautiful, well-grown fleeces, Philip?
Yes, the Young Farmers Committee went out to the White Spurs wool shed back in December to give these sheep a little tag up and keep them ready for the shears, and they were in good order then. But he's a great bloke, Donald, and the country he is on is well suited to growing good sheep. Right,
so let's introduce our first heat of this Open Wool Handling semi-final. So on stand 1 we have Cherie Alabaster. So Cherie, she's had not a bad season. She's not full-time in this game anymore either, is she, Philip?
Oh, no. She mixes us up with on-call teaching of children at a school, but she doesn't forget how to do it, and that's probably, over the years of experience, that's what you gain.
That's right. So she's had some wins this year. Wairarapa, she won the Waipukaro competition, the Apiti. It's not an AMP show, but the Apiti sports show as well. So, you know, she comes pretty well prepared, and she'll be hungry for this title again. On stand 2, we have Pagan Karodia. You've travelled with her as a manager, Philip?
No, not as a manager, but she was in France, of course, and I was over there helping the French judges and referees who had never done wool handling judging on a big scale. So she's great to watch, and she fully deserved that place back in France last year.
Yeah, so her shows that she's got under her belt for this year: Alexandra, Waimate, Christchurch and Winton. And then we've got 2 that are not strangers to the Open, but potentially strangers to a Golden Shears Open. And the first one is Candy Hiddy from Mataura. She's been a strong competitor for a number of years, always there, always competitive, but just not always that consistency that can keep driving. But she's one of those competitors right on the brink of it, Philip. She's always there. And then lastly, Rachel Hutchinson from Australia. We saw her last night, another very competitive Australian wool handler, well coached, well disciplined. So I think she'll be thrilled that she's been able to push through into the semi-final.
Oh, I think that's marvellous for her, you know, to make a semi-final at Golden Shears. That's the top 8, of course. I'm not sure if we have had an Australian semi-finalist before, so it's well done her. And going back to Cindy, you know, is one of those competitors who keeps competing at competitions, and there's always got to be not necessarily winners, but people who support the competitions, and they keep learning, and hopefully one day she will reach the top.
That's right. So now we're watching Cherie Alabaster here. She's on stand 1. Everyone's got their first fleece out. Look at them busy preparing. It's a big job to prepare that fleece. The more prep work you do now, the better your throw potentially, isn't it, Philip.
Absolutely, and you can see the sort of on edge, and that's good. That's not nerves necessarily, but going back to my days as wool handling, it's a lot of it's in the mind. I'd say 75% of it is just how you've thought out what you're going to do and where you're going to put things.
Yes, look at this in slow-mo. These are those throws. Not bad from Cindy, a little bit of hangover. Kieran looked the best throw there.
Absolutely, yes.
And that we're not using the points through this because it is a semi-final at the moment, but you can assume that Candy would have lost minimal points on that. So then they're all back to that shearer again to ensure that they catch all those contaminating short fibres in the crutch wool and also from around the head. I mean, this is all important stuff, very basic but very important, isn't it?
Well, it really is trying to improve the A-line, and that's wool handling is all about that, but it is also a competition, so it means sorting all lines out, separating them, and we certainly don't want any of the finer B-wools or dirty wools that contaminate the A-line. So here you see them rolling up, and of course that's so important to put in their little flexible tub there to be taken away for judging, but good rolls are much easier to judge out the back than something that's sort of pushed together.
Yeah, and the thing is too, the roll can attract up to, I think it's up to 10 penalty points, and the criteria is it's got to be compact, tight and well placed. Here we go, our second throws. Yep, they're not bad. I think Cherie might have the edge on that. The others didn't quite, make the whole grade in terms of the stretch that it could have had, especially when you look at Pagan when she turns, she's just not giving it. Oh no, that's pretty cool. No, that's good.
I think Pagan's fleece is sort of held together quite well. Cherie's just breaking up there a bit, but I think sometimes these fleeces you can't necessarily throw them. It's what I would call you place them or put them. We see a lot of that from Joel Hanare, but it's very important you just don't overthrow these fleeces, or they will just take off the edge of the table.
Well, they're so well grown for a start, these fleeces. So that's what can happen. So we're being joined here by one of our Australian comrades. How are you? So we're watching Candy at the moment. She's got her third sheep out? She does. And as we said before, sometimes you can get to that third sheep, but it's the fourth one, if you're not onto it, that can cause some issues. But gee, these girls are all onto it. They've certainly got it going well.
Interesting in your comments earlier, Mavis, where Pagan has won, I think it's all full wool fleece competitions.
Yes.
Whereas Cherie has more sort of second share competitions. In the semi-final, just full wool fleeces, but look, if they make the final tonight, there's 6 full wool fleeces, 4 second share, so there's a lot of work to do, and if they're competent with both the long and the shorter wools, that's where it counts.
That's right. Look, there's some beautiful throws there. They're not, I don't think any one of them is perfect, but they're all certainly on table, on square, but there is some overthrow, some slight bunching, but the judges will be taking huge notice of that and making sure that the penalties are applied appropriately. Here's Candy Hiddy. If we look at the little dials down the bottom, Philip, it's quite an interesting snapshot of what's happening. So here's Rachel. She's on sheep number 4. There's her time. The colours tell you what the average is on for that heat. So, for example, the board, you can see where the average is. Her board points at the moment are probably just, a little bit too much in terms of where everybody else sits. So, if for the people out there watching, they can have a quick look at that and just see where the red, green is and where the arrow is, because that dial is applied to, for example, in this situation, to Rachel. So, she's got a bit of work to do to catch up. But look at her, she's down under the table at the moment. She's making sure she gives herself every opportunity.
And I see the dial for the board just drop back a little bit there.
Ah, good.
So a few more points, I think that means lost.
Oh, okay.
So if the green goes right round
Yes,
to the
yes.
right, it means good.
That's right, yes.
But
Another great throws. Look at them. You'd be proud of those. So we've just got a bit of a slow-mo here. This is a repeat. Just watching that, you get a really great view of, look at Therese holding it, held it up, just adjusted that back end. Same with Pagan. A little bit on the overthrow.
Yes.
They're not easy fleeces, these. They're doing it well.
Certainly not. And I think Cindy's fleeces have been the loosest of all, and they've all three of them so far, or four, have sort of just a little bit of a break in the way they've laid on the table.
Yes. That's not always any reflection of anything the wool handler has necessarily done. Sometimes these fleeces are like that, although sometimes when wool handlers go to turn those fleeces, they could be just a little bit rough with them, and that could, provide the break. But look at the way Cherie's working around that fleece. She's not going to waste any time running right around the table. She's going to bring it to her.
Yes, you see her working down, looking at the screen, the nearest side of the table. That's where her basket is for her first pieces.
Yes.
So there's no sort of skirting on the far side of the table and having to find the basket on the opposite side.
No, that's right.
That's good workmanship.
Very smart. This is about strategy. Now, when you're at this level, you've got to be thinking, every second and adjusting, flexing. It's just, there's no one road.
That's right. Every fleece is different. Even though you might think, looking at them, that they're very much the same, but every fleece is different. The different amounts of skirting needed, perhaps neck wool that comes off them.
Yes.
It's just even the way they're thrown and the way they sit on the table. But obviously, the looser fleeces are harder to roll, and once again, very easy to lose points. But, that fleece of Cherie's has just collapsed in the middle.
That's right.
On the whole, I think Pagan would have the best throws of all four on the average.
Yes, they've been, actually, for the type of fleeces that they've been given, I think they've done an outstanding job. None of it's been easy, but now is the crunch time. Look at Rachel. Rachel Hutchings already got the broom in hand. She looks under her table. She's got it sorted. She would have been smarting that perhaps things hadn't gone quite so well, and you can see that there. Her board's just a little bit higher than she would have really liked, but she's got time on her side. Good on you, Rachel. Put the pressure on.
Pagan's finished.
Yes, there's Cherie was on her hands and knees, as is Candy. No pride when you're trying to just make sure you've got every single piece of wool in the right bin. Well done, ladies. That's a frantic bit of a first heat, and we'll very shortly get to a second heat. Thank you, Toby.
Please, competitors, we don't want you to get up before. Oh, Rowena, that was a wonderful semi-final. Those wool handlers, man, they were gunning it. I didn't see that Aussie girl skirt her fleece.
Yeah, I think she managed to do it quite quickly. She's done a lot of work on the board. So we see our competitors start to line up their baskets to put them in the place. Toma, is it kind of down to which school you went to or which wool handler you looked up to when you were getting into the sport as to how you position, or do you just kind of adapt as you go?
Joel was just saying he didn't go to school, he wasn't allowed. But a lot of these wool handlers, they did have mentors. We have Gina Nathan, Mavis Mullins, Orty Mason, to name a few, Patrick Shelford. There's a lot of these mentors that came in. A lot of them were mostly dragons. You know, if you weren't doing your job properly, they'd throw your broom out the porthole and tell you to get on your knees. So she was fairly hard back in the day. But yeah, it really shines through with the new breed that's coming in. Joel Henare, I think he might have been about 8 or... how old were you, Joel, when you first started doing competitions? 11? Joel was 12 years old when he first started doing competitions, so he had a wonderful mentor. Well, mentors, they all kind of mothered Joel. And he took the best out of all of them, and he became the man he is today. We have the green light. Can we have our judges to the board? Wool handlers, if you find rattle in the fleece, they're going to disregard it. Okay, wool handlers, if you find rattle in the fleece, you can disregard it. Timekeepers ready. Shearers, get set, go. Okay, here we go again. Heat number 2, wanting to make the top 4.
Here we go, heat number 2, stand 1. They've already started, they've got their first sheep out. Stand number 1, Joel Henare. Now, Joel, darling Joel, he's supposed to be retired, but you know, when you love something like you love it, you don't stay away. And this year, even out of the spare time he's had, Joel's had some wins.
But more importantly, Otago, of course, he won the New Zealand Wool Handler of the Year title, and I thought that had been his first competition, but to come back and to win that against the other guns of the wool handling competitions, it's a fantastic effort.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I've had a chat to Joel and he's as hungry as ever. And I said, what are you doing? He said, well, when you love it, you know, what can I do? Good question, Joel, good question. Just stay with it then until it sorts itself out. On stand number 2, we have Lani Morell. Now, Lani comes from a long line of champions. Dion Morell, dad. Tina Remene, mother. Pagan, sister. I mean, you know, this girl's got it in her blood and she's brought herself all the way to this semi-final. I mean, this is no mean feat, Philip, at all. And then on stand number 3, we have Monica Portai.
Yes, it's good to have these, you know, the girls from down south up here and down there. I guess they're working with merino wool a lot. Back here on crossbred wool, essentially it's generally the same sort of workmanship that's required, of course, in a competition. Fleece is obviously a bit different to pick up and throw, and a little bit of skirting. You have to be very careful with the finer wools with their seeds and weight in them. But
yeah, no, well, I don't think she's even been in the sheds that much this last few months. She's been at Kennedy Bay, eating salad and fish, she tells me. She looks great, but, you know, she's come through here and all of a sudden she's got that get out of my way look on her face. And then down the end, how lovely, Sam Gordon.
yes, another Masterton competitor. So what a great family they are for the competition industry, both shearing and wool handling. But, you know, within their own family, I guess there's a lot of help with preparing for competitions and the way they work, even in the wool sheds as they work at various people's sheds.
Yeah, that's right. And the other interesting thing, I've talked a little bit about the resident wool handlers. You know, they've been here since day .2, Philip, and often someone owned a stand, if you like. You know, like Hinado Mason, stand number 1, and then, you know, her daughter, and then her daughter's daughters have been on those stands. Well, there's nothing different than these Gordon girls as well. So, you know, there's some wonderful stuff going, and now she's carving her own way, young Sam Gordon, in this Golden Shears place. Here's Joel.
And just because she's young doesn't mean that she won't make the final. There is a little bit of luck involved with these competitions, and it depends on the fleece sometimes, the way they can throw it.
You talked before about Joel and his throwing style, pushing. Look at that.
Just placing it.
Just a push out there.
Yes.
Lani did the same. A little bit more height to it though.
Yes.
And here's Moni. She goes from the side. Can't see. There's a little bit of overhang, but nothing that you'd be too worried about. So, you know, they've come on to this third fleece looking really sharp and confident.
You know, it's something really your novice and junior competitors should watch these guns and the way that they operate with the fleece. Joel is very clever at the way he places that fleece on the table. You very rarely see any overhang with him.
Look at this board. You know, he's cracking it. Look at that board points. He's got the best. He's certainly on if the green is where you should, want to be, he's well into the green. So that's a good sign for Joel. I know that he wants this again.
Just look at those hands and the way they move. It's a bit like a hen picking wheat off the ground. You know, it's pick, 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 pick.
Yeah.
And he's some of our best wool handlers have had that same similar action when they skirt the fleeces.
Yeah, that's right. It is, and I remember, I think it was Joel or one of them, they talk about spirit fingers because they just move, they just glide through the work that's in front of them, and that's what they aspire to too, because it's got to be fingertip, it can't be hand, otherwise that's when you start the over-skirting stuff, isn't it?
That's right,
Here we go, next throw. Lani's doing a lovely job. Bit of overhang, there's at least 3, 4, maybe even 5 points that I can see out there with that one side. It's the only thing.
As you can see, when she picked that fleece up though, there was some fleece holding off down the edge of her arm, and it wasn't held correctly, so once again when it's thrown that becomes loose and basically will finish up off the table.
That's right, so now they're taking off that neck wall. You can see there's a little bit of VM, even at this space we can, this distance we could see just the flecks of those thistle heads or seed heads in there. They have to be removed. That's a processing fault that's intolerable really for a quality product. So there they are. It's a great looking scene. Monica, she's trying to work her way around as well. They've been back already to get the eye clip. So now they're free to get back to that fleece and make sure all those processing faults are removed.
Yes, they're on fleece number 3 on the table. 4th sheep's being shorn.
That's right.
So, there's... but the whole wool handling process of the competition, there's plenty of room where you can lose points, and that's where our judges are got to be quite skilled, and so many processes and things to look for where you can lose penalties.
Yeah, did you see the way Sam just moved that fleece around in terms of preparing it?
Yes.
She tried very hard not to break it, move it, or to allow it to come apart. And look at the result. That's a lovely throw, I would have thought. A little bit of bunching, but all of them. These are outstanding throws.
Yeah, but off the table on table 3 there on the right hand side as we look at the screen.
Yes.
So here comes Joel once again.
See what he does. Push out. Oh, a bit of bunching up the
too
top
bad.
there. He looked a bit rushed anyway. When you turn, you actually do need to just balance yourself. He's normally a master at that. This time he kind of just see that he was...
Yes.
It was almost like his body had turned before he'd finished the throw.
I think he was just a little bit late in picking it up.
Yes.
He does look sort of very controlled, but that couple of seconds has cost him just probably a better throw, and I don't know whether he may have got back and swept his board.
Yes.
He is very quick, of course, but look, sometimes it's you can lose points so easily just by rushing, but you can make it up somewhere else. Lose a few points here, but make it up somewhere else.
Yeah. He was giving that fleece quite a bit of a shake. I'm just wondering Wonder what he's seeing that we can't see here, but that's a lovely throw, well placed, cleaned that table. Just having a pre-clean up there. Oh heck, oh that tells the story, doesn't it?
That certainly does.
That tells the story.
That's the penalty points they have lost after 4 fleeces.
That's right. And then these walls will all go out the back. Oh, gee, look at that. So controlled. So controlled. Lovely. What's Moni going to do?
Yeah,
nice.
Pretty good, yes,
Yep.
yes.
She changed her style. She started off where she was throwing from the side of the table, and that's when she was getting a bit of overhang. That fleece there, she actually steadied herself to, take it on at the front. I've seen her often in Alex where, the side table throw is a lot more, not a lot more successful for her, but oh gosh, here we go. Now's the clean-up. This is when we see who is organised, who's done all the thinking. Look at that.
Nice board to clean up. It's very smooth, chipboard floor.
Yep.
So they can...
Oh, there we go. Sam. Where did she come from? Joel. Isn't it funny? You can take your eyes off just for one little tick and...
We've been watching Joel, but it was Sam down on table 4 who had obviously the shearers had finished in the same time.
Yep.
But look, there's a bit more wool under the table with Sam.
Yes,
down
there is.
There and,
just around her fadges too.
Oh, yes. So...
Yeah. So she'll be penalised for that. She'll wear that, but she probably sacrificed that for her time.
That's it.
And 1:20, which I think is still the sealed time.
1:10.
1:10.
Yes.
You don't want to be losing too much after that. The more you can come in, but no, those stats tell the whole story.
Yes.
So it's all in the outside now. So unless Joel's done something ridiculously bad, like leave stuff in or mix his walls up with in those different fadges, it's looking pretty good for him.
Absolutely, to make the final at this
right.
stage, just to make the final.
No, well, thank you very much, Philip. I think we'll let's just hold breath and see how the outside judging goes. We'll know that very, very soon. But shortly we're going to be going on to the real hyper part of the start of the program, with the Golden Shears Bailey's semi-final open shearing. So this is when we're going to see somethings fly.
Absolutely.
Thank you.